Hello, everybody, and welcome to Formula X, SNL Formula X Season 8, Round 4. As you can tell by the huge Red Bull sign here, we are at the Red Bull Ring today in Austria. You can see the Austrian flag painted on the whatever that is back there, the runoff area, I should say, after turn 10. We are here at the Red Bull Ring. F1 raced here recently. That's the look up to turn 1. And now it's Formula X's turn to race here. And we have a very, very exciting race in store for us today. You can see there 15 drivers lined up on the grid. Should have been 16. We will get to that in just a minute, though. For now, I think it is worth taking a look at the grid on pole position today. We have, as I just realized I never sent the link to the Discord, so if you'll give me just a quick second here, please. There we go. Excellent. There we go. And now I am ready to get going. Apologies for that. I'll actually also just test my audio quickly, make sure everything is coming through all right. That sounded atrocious. I appear to be having some sort of echo. That's bizarre. What's going on here? Oh, I know. I think I fixed it. It is indeed fixed. Apologies for that. It took me a moment to get that sorted out. But there we go. The audio is fixed, and I will now run us through the grid order. We have none other than Regimus Prime taking his first SNL podium in the Mercedes, and you will notice that it is a 1-2 in qualifying for Mercedes, a front row lockout for the two Mercedes, as reigning champion with the number 1 Bunnies qualifying in second. So a fantastic qualifying for Mercedes, and it must be said, a brilliant lap for Regimus Prime. I will pull up the times set quickly now, because it truly was an exceptional lap from Regimus Prime. Let's find the time. Regimus Prime on pole position with a 112.3. That was 4.61 tenths of a second faster than Bunnies, and 6.53 tenths of a second faster than Matt Psycho, who lines up in third in the Renault. So Matt Psycho in third. I will just check the standings now so that I can give you accurate information here. So the top two on the grid, Ragemus in 11th place in the standings on 26 points, Bunnies in second on 55 points, ahead of Gasman on countback there. Meanwhile, Matt Psycho, qualifying in third on the grid, is in fifth in the championship on 46 points. Followed by our championship leader, it is Scarface, number 31 on 61 points. The All-American Red Bull with the Star-Spangled Banner on it lines up in fourth. Only 3 cars separate him and the front. Next up, we have Bondimus Prime, number 32. The British driver will be looking to move forwards even more after qualifying in a fantastic 5th. He is down in 12th in the championship on 23 points, so it's a bit lower than where he qualified today, and I'm sure he'll be looking to finish even better. Next up, we have Gasman, the man in third in the championship on 55 points, number 89 with that Miami one-off livery. It is Gasman lining up in sixth on the grid. Next up, we have SNL Jam. I feel like he qualifies in this position quite often. It is the number 7 in P7 on the grid. Jam unfortunately caught COVID before this race, I believe partway through the week, so he is going to have an uphill battle regardless of where he is on the track, so we'll see how he does today. Nonetheless, an impressive qualifying given the circumstances to put himself P7. P8 on the grid is Rob on drums, number 42, I believe a personal best in qualifying for this season. The American Red Bull driver in the American Red Bull car is going from the front half of the grid. He will be looking to do very well today. Front half of a full grid. Not good enough at maths to say if that's the front half of the grid with only 15. I suppose it's the halfway point. 7 people ahead of him, 7 people behind, yeah? No. Yes. We're going to move on. It's Ajax in ninth on the grid. Number 12, the Tyrrell, the first of the two Tyrrells, qualifying in ninth today. He'll be looking to move forwards after a maiden podium last time out. I just realized I skipped over several people in terms of championship order. So those people being Gasman was on 55 points in third, and then it was Jam, who sits on 38 points in seventh, the number 7, of course, in seventh. Rob on drums lies 14th in the championship at the current time on 11 points. Let's see. Followed by Rob, it is, of course, Ajax. Ajax, after his maiden Formula X podium, maiden SNL podium even, Ajax on 34 points in ninth in the championship. Aloe, the Renault driver, has been having an extremely good season so far. He sits 6th in the championship on 41 points. Aloe will be looking to move forwards. He can definitely move up the grid. We have seen some immense pace from him so far this season. A podium in Le Mans, and some other excellent results so far. Next up, we have Speckmere. Speckmere sitting in a very, very strong 4th position in the championship for McLaren. McLaren are, of course, the reigning Constructors' champions, so Speckmere will be looking to push forwards with this McLaren. He's on 47 points, 4th in the championship. He is still absolutely in with a shot at the championship. Realistically, any of the top, I'd say 9 or so, could get in on the championship battle. Obviously, the top, say, 5 or 6 are the big contenders, but anybody really could get in on it. Speckmere, of course, in 4th, is definitely in the championship battle at this point. Slenderfella, an up-and-down season for him so far. The Lotus driver currently sits in 8th in the championship. It was nearly a podium at the Nürburgring. It was last place at Le Mans, and it was a podium at the High Speed Ring. If that trend continues, today might not be his day, but I'm sure that Slenderfella will be looking to move up on the grid, not down. Next is the second of the two McLarens. That triple crown McLaren livery has Punisher, the third of the 3 Canadians on the grid, driving it. Punisher currently sits 13th in the championship on 14 points. He will be pushing forwards, trying to catch and pass his teammate. And just a funny thing I'll point out again. Once again, Aloe and Speckmere qualifying extremely close together. These two have been absolutely inseparable since the beginning of last season at least, when they were teammates. So just a funny little thing I figured I'd point out now that I've noticed it. Next up is the returning Kragob. He had his debut last time out in High Speed Ring. More left to be desired, admittedly, but I think certainly very, very good possibilities coming up for the Williams driver. He'll be looking to improve upon his result from last time. Kragob is in last in the championship. That is 19th place. He is on 2 points driving for Williams. He will be looking to gain some more today. Next up, last but not least, is Kaiser Grimm. Kaiser qualifying in 15th today. The Tyrrell driver sits 16th in the championship on 8 points. The Swede will be looking to move forwards on the grid. And, of course, the unfortunately empty 16th spot that should be filled up. Unfortunately, Yakas with a qualifying, an issue in qualifying, a disconnection, that's the word. So Yakas, unfortunately, the Polish driver, will not be starting the race today. However, that leaves you with a 15-car grid. We have an amazing grid this season of Formula X. It is a beautiful livery. It is a beautiful grid in terms of liveries. And once again, we are getting prepared to go racing in Season 8. This will be round 4. And all 15 of these drivers will be going for the win. It's a Mercedes front row lockout. What will happen next? We'll find out after I get a sip of water. Well, first I should go through actually the Constructors' Championship. First in the Constructors' Championship, it is Renault on 89 points. Second is Mercedes on 81. Red Bull has 72. Williams have 72. They are third and fourth. Fifth is Ferrari on 63. Sixth is McLaren on 61. Seventh is Lotus on 59. And eighth is Tyrrell on 52. Good evening, Matt Sykes. Good to see you in the chat. I believe it did, I think, asking, is that a Ronnie Peterson lid, presumably based on, asking about Kaiser's helmet. I believe it is, but I would not know personally for sure. And thank you to Ragemus for correcting me on the pronunciation of our second Williams username. I have been mispronouncing it, and for that I apologize. It is not Kragob, it is Craig OB, compared to Obi-Wan Kenobi, for example. So Craig OB. That is his name. I will probably just try to refer to him as Craig, because adding OB to the end is a bit much, but yes. So Craig OB. Apologies for mispronouncing that. And thank you again for the pointer, Ragemus. All right. So, I am ready to get going with this race. I hope you are as well, because this is going to be an exciting one. Let's get our settings up. Display all off. We are here at the Red Bull Ring. It is 43 laps. Let's see how this is going to go. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's lights out, and we are racing at the Red Bull Ring. It's a good start for Bunnies. He is trying to challenge his teammate as already. Same goes for Matt, as there's a bit of smoke and contact there, as Ragemus way off the track. It looks like a contact for sure between himself and his teammate, possibly with Matt as well. any chaos further down the grid. There's Scarface going for a move, Bondimus Prime even going for a move on Gasman, getting stuck behind Scarface though. Scarface out a little bit wide there, getting knocked around next to Gasman. Matt Psycho holds third for the time being. Gasman and Scarface, a little bit of contact there. Gasman's going to look at the inside of Matt Psycho. No moves there. It is Scarface on the outside of Gasman with Bondimus behind. Ajax, Jam, Aloe, Craig, Slenderfella, Speckmere, Rob, Kaiser, and the Punisher a little ways back. What has happened to the Punisher here? So down towards turn 4 of this 10-turn circuit. Oh, just going late on the brakes, possibly running out into the gravel. And that is the McLaren already a little ways behind the rest of the grid. Back up towards the front. It is Ragemus Prime who leads the way from his first pole position. And he has a comfortable gap back to his teammate. Both of their damage fixed. Then it's Matt Psycho in third, under pressure from Scarface here. But as we come to the end of lap 1, it is Ragemus Prime who leads the way through on his teammate. His teammate is spinning around. That is Bunnies around on the AstroTurf and into the wall. Bunnies around. What happened here? So out of turn 10, he gets on the curve and he spins it around on those white bumps and on the grass from the looks of things. That is Bunny spun around, but only down to 6th, even down to 7th now, with Bondimus getting through, and Aloe as well. Look at that cluster of cars into turn 1. They were 4 wide there. It's Jam ahead of Aloe, ahead of Speckmere, ahead of Slenderfella, ahead of Rob, ahead of Craig, ahead of Kaiser, and Punisher behind. But there is still more battling to be had up into turn 3. This right hand, almost hairpin. They are 2 by 2 by 2. Speckmere getting knocked out wide there with contact between him and probably about 5 other cars. Jam pulling away from this group slightly, so is Aloe. It's Craig and Slenderfella side by side into turn 4. Speckmere on the inside of Kaiser and Rob. Kaiser is going to be behind for a moment, but the Tyrrell driver is putting pressure on Speckmere around the outside of turn 6. No moves there for now. The Swede has to sit behind. He's got the run down into turn 7. On the inside, a little bit of contact and Speckmere's round. The McLaren driver goes for a spin, and Punisher waiting up for him. I wonder if Punisher possibly hitting him out wide. Let's go take a look at that. Punisher appears to believe he is at fault at least, so let's take a look. On board with the Canadian, we're just going to go to this camera here. The Canadian in that Triple Crown livery. What happens here? So Speckmere gets knocked out wide. Oh, and Punisher hits him even wider. And some brilliant sportsmanship there from Punisher to wait for his teammate to get out of the gravel trap, losing time constantly by doing that. But that is some phenomenal sportsmanship. You love to see it from Punisher. It is Ragemus Prime, though, who leads the way on lap 3 of 43. Fastest lap currently belongs to Matt Psycho, though, at 13.710. He gained about half a second on that lap on the Mercedes driver. So Matt Psycho is currently sitting, I believe it was 5th in the championship, looking to move forwards. He is in 2nd. This will provide a move forwards as it stands, I'm sure. Scarface in the championship lead, the American driver sitting 3rd. It's been a great start for Ajax, up to 4th place already for the Tyrrell driver. Gasman sitting behind him, then it's Bondimus and Bunnies right behind him. Bunnies is going to be getting a big dose of the dirty air here, I would imagine, although it's possible Bondimus will be getting it as well. No, I'd say Bondimus is likely too far behind Gasman to be getting too heavy a dose of dirty air, but Gasman will be getting a dosage of dirty air from Ajax up ahead. Ajax and Scarface here going through turn 10. Only 10 corners on the circuit. Realistically, only 8 or so of them. Arguably only 7. Through turn 1, you see there, the left-hand kink up here is turn 2. Turn 3 is the right-hander. Turn 4 is the downhill hairpin-like corner. Turn 5 will be the right-hander out of it. Turn 6 and 7 are the double left. 8 is the right-hander out of the second of the double lefts, just at the beginning of the 3rd sector, and then the double rights are 9 and 10. So, here we have a North American 3, 4, and 7, and British all around them. So an interesting mix of nationalities, but I'd like to point out quickly, look at the gap between here, 7th, that's Bunnies there, Ragemus Prime with the fastest lap of the race, I just noticed, but Bunnies in 7th, look at the gap between himself and Aloe. So the top 7 really getting separated from the bottom 8 drivers. So Punisher and Speckmere here, 15th and 14th, Kaiser 13th, 12th is Slenderfella as it stands, 11th Rob on drums, Craig in 10th, 9th is Jam. Oh, big slide for Jam. What a save. Let's go back and see that again. That looked immense. So coming up to turn 9 now, and so Jam, just touching the AstroTurf in the grass, and what a save there. That was really, really smooth from Jam. What a save. Moving back up towards the front though, it is Ragemus who still leads the way. He's got a comfortable gap to Matt Psycho, but Matt will be pushing on. Oh, look at the way he closed up through turn 3. That was some immense braking from Matt Psycho. Really, really strong on the brakes, that Renault driver seems to be. It's Gasman on the back of Ajax. Is he close enough for a move? Surely not into turn 4. No, he doesn't even really look for it. The Ferrari driver, as usual for Gasman. Gasman often in the Ferrari if you've been watching Formula X and GTE for a long while now. Gasman sitting in P5. He's running behind Ajax. These two were teammates last season in GTE in the Corvette. So these two know each other pretty well as teammates. They've been close together on track many times before. Ajax coming off of his maiden podium. Gasman coming off of not a podium, but coming off of being tied for second in the championship. So Gasman doing very well as it stands. Let's look further back. Bondimus, a bit of a snap of oversteer there at turn 1. Bunny's right behind him. Actually, I say right behind him. That's a noticeable gap now, forming between the Lotus and the Mercedes. This top 7 spreading out slightly, but still all to play for here today. Further back, it's Jam, followed by Aloe, Rob on drums, Craig, and Slenderfella. Ooh, wow, Slenderfella getting so close to the back of Craig. Oh, and Slenderfella's around, out of turn 3. The Lotus driver is off the track. Whoa, that rejoin very close to contact with Kaiser. What has happened here? I think he just gets wheel spin out of turn 3. A very finicky corner there for the drivers trying to get on the traction. Of course, as fast and as hard as possible. But just getting it all wrong there is Slenderfella. The two McLarens still at the back, but with that incident brought slightly closer to the rest of the grid. So, mention in the chat of, that's a bit of contact I just missed for a moment between, I think, Rob on drums and Craig, I believe. So, wow, a lot of chaos going on throughout the grid so far. Let's take a look. It seems the closest together appear to be Aloe and Aloe and Jam. Aloe's going to be putting a lot of pressure on Jam here. In the chat, though, it's a Marcus Ericsson's Ronnie Peterson tribute helmet from Monaco. So presumably that is Kaiser saying so in regards to his helmet, which I think is very cool. I am a big fan of Marcus Ericsson, so I support that helmet. And Josh saying, buckle up, if this starts any indication, it's going to be a wild one. And I fully agree with that statement, as we see Aloe going to the inside for turn 4. Can he make a move? No, it's perfect defense from Jam on the outside, late braking, perfect turn in, and the Brit keeps the position, but it's going to be down the inside of turn 6 now for the Lotus driver, surely not, or for the Renault driver, apologies, and no, he is not able to make the move down the inside, so Jam really masterfully defending on the outside this lap, but now it's going to be the inside again for Aloe. Can he get it this time through turn 9? He does! What a move into turn 9! I would love to see that off board. How has Aloe pulled this off? He just goes to the inside of Jam, and through on the inside of turn 9, Jam just has to slot in behind. So Jam now with a big dose of dirty air, you can see the understeer there, and this is going to give Rob on drums an opportunity. That Red Bull is going to go through on the Williams into turn 1. Can he make the move? Little bit of contact, but Jam maintains the position. Great move, says Gary. I believe that's a lowy, although I could be mistaken, but indeed a fantastic move. Was Rob on drums, so close to the back of Jam. And Craig, oh no, Craig is around. That's the Williams around at turn 3. That's the second car we've seen into the wall there in just a couple of laps, getting out of the wall now that everybody's through, and that is not at all what you want to see here. So Bunny's on the back of Bondibus, on the back of Gasman, on the back of Ajax, and then Scarface, and then Matt Psycho up there, followed behind, I should say, Ragemus Prime. So the current fastest lap of the race belongs to Scarface. So this top 3 sort of closing together a bit, and Scarface is just going to be sitting in the slipstream of that Psycho there. Gasman, of course, that's Gasman. I knew that. Why did I say that was a lowy? Apologies, Gasman. I knew that was I knew that was your name, and I seem to have forgotten for whatever reason. Yeah. So Scarface sitting in the slipstream of Matt Psycho, who is also in the slipstream of Ragemus. This top 3 is looking very, very strong, and based on the championship, this is not a surprising top 3 in terms of the teams. Although generally it has been the other Mercedes up at the front. Of course, Bunny's winning in Le Mans. But Ragemus looking in a very good position in Austria today. Of course, Ragemus, though, has 34 laps or so to go. So Ragemus certainly does not want to consider this a win yet. But he is undoubtedly in a good position, running in first at the moment. This top 3 very quick. As is fourth, of course. Really, the entire top 7, keeping so close together, are very quick right now. Ajax, a little bit of a wobble through turn 1. And let's take a look. I think I might have an opportunity to explain something that I do every race. I don't yet. Well, that'll have to wait then. Oh, as Matt Psycho's really close to the back of Ragemus Prime now. Matt Psycho, surely, he's too far back on this occasion, but surely he will be looking for opportunities throughout the rest of the lap. It was a personal best lap from Matt Psycho last lap, but the fastest lap of the race so far. Bondimus Prime, a 1:12.995, a bit of a snap of oversteer from possibly both of the top 2 drivers there. I was too focused on the times to say for sure, but it looked like a wobble from Matt, and it looked like Ragemus was a bit offline. So Scarface will be pushing after them now. The Red Bull driver in the dirty air is going to be trying to close up the gap. For now, just sort of lurking, and we'll be getting our first pit stops pretty soon, I would imagine. And Ajax right on the back of this top 3 now. So it is very much the top 4 that are running in a close line now. 5th, 6th, and 7th a little bit of a ways back, but a big gap back to 8th. So really it is the top 7 and then the rest of the grid. That said, actually looking on the mini-map, 5th, 6th, and 7th falling a little bit of a ways behind the top 4. So let's look down the grid. How are each of our drivers doing? So it's Craig in last as it stands, Punisher right in front of him, Speckmere in 13th, so the 4th place driver in the championship, not doing as well as he would like, I would imagine, at the moment. Slenderfella in 12th, then it is Kaiser in 11th, 10th goes to Rob on drums currently, 9th is Jam. Jam is behind Aloe in 8th, and then we get to our top 7, which have seemed to have closed up a little bit again on this lap. It's Bunnies in 7th, a 13.0 on the last lap. Then it is Bondimus up here in 6th, a 13.5 on his most recent lap. Gasman runs in 5th, a 13.4 last lap. It's a 14.3 last lap for Ajax. so possibly struggling in that dirty air a bit. Scarface is in third, a 13.4 last lap. Let's see, the Red Bull driver really close to the Renault and the Mercedes ahead. As I said, though, a 13.4 last lap, a 13.5 last lap for Matt, and a 13.5 last lap for Ragemus, but Matt is right on the back of Ragemus. I thought just for a split second there was a chance of an overtake, but the Renault driver just biding his time, and I'd say the earliest, the absolute earliest we'd see a pit stop is lap 14, and as I say that, Slenderfella is in the pits, so not great timing on my part to try and say that, but Slenderfella into the pits, that is our first pit stop of the day, and with that, I will mention our tire situation. So, we'll start with Slenderfella because he's the man who just came out of the pits. He is soft, medium today. He was on the mediums until now. He's just put on the softs. Craig is doing a soft strategy. Punisher taking soft, medium today. Specmere on soft, medium as well. Kaiser taking soft, medium too. So soft, medium seeming very, very popular today. Rob on drums, his tires are soft. Jam taking, if I can find him, Jam doing soft, medium as well. Aloe doing soft, so very soft setup for Aloe this round, as Bunny's right on the back of Bondimus again. Ooh, a bit of a snap of overs here out of turn 4 there, and Bunny's is doing soft, medium, hard, so one of the harder strategies today going to Bunny's. Bondimus, the man in front of him, also doing soft, medium, hard though. Gasman, the Ferrari driver, the sole Ferrari driver in this race. Ooh, a big snap of oversteer there from the Scot. What a save though, it has to be said. Gasman, soft today. Ajax going soft, medium, hard. So both of those Canadian brothers doing soft, medium, hard today. As Scarface is, if I can find him, Scarface, ooh, getting very close to the back of Matt Psycho there. Scarface is running a soft, medium, hard strategy today. Matt Psycho soft. So huge advantage to Matt Psycho there in terms of the tires compared to the two around him, as Radimus Prime is soft, medium. So Matt Psycho soft, and in second currently. Must be said, he is in a very, very good position, as all three of these drivers on the softs at the moment, all five of the top 5, as Bunnies is ahead of Bondimus. Where did that happen? Did that happen here? No, it did not. We'll skip back up to where we were then. Bondimus, though, down to 7th, Bunnies up to 6th. So the Mercedes driver, the reigning champion, is into 6th in the Mercedes. So, flying through turn 9, a bit wide there for Bondimus, probably just struggling with the dirty air a bit then. So, Bondimus down to 7th. 8th is Aloe, pulling away from Jam a bit. Jam, on lap 14, sits in 9th position. And as I mentioned earlier, racing with COVID, must be said, doing a very, very good job, all things considered, with that sickness. Rob on drums sits in 10th, a solid gap in either direction. Kaiser, truly with quite a large gap in either direction. Then it's Craig, Slenderfella, Specmere, and Punisher. So the two McLarens recently into the pits, presumably then, as Ajax coming up behind Punisher. So Punisher, no, wait, where did Punisher go? Punisher, where have you gone? Punisher is right in front of Bunnies then. So Punisher, the first driver to be lapped. He's been lapped by the top 5 now, and so he will be trying to get out of the way at a sensible time, I'm sure. Bunnies through turn 9, through turn 10, he's going to be getting a dose of the dirty air here, as Punisher moving over to the right. Bunnies grabbing some slipstream, And then moving out to the left, and pretty sensible there from Punisher, letting Bunnies through at a reasonable time. So, this top 3 spreading out a tiny bit on the last lap, I would think. Actually, no, Matt gaining quite a bit on Ragemus on the last lap, but still a more noticeable gap than last I checked between the top 2, although Scarface directly on the back of Matt Psycho, and I have to say, it is looking quite dark here at the Red Bull Ring. This is, of course, a track with a chance of rain, so we'll see maybe some rain on the horizon, but hard to say. Certainly nobody on inters or anything yet. Ajax in 4th. Everybody should be pretty low on fuel here, although Ajax seems the lowest, so I would imagine Ajax, Gasman, and Bunnies will be pitting. Ajax pulling over to the right, definitely going into the pits on this occasion. Let's see, Gasman into the pits as well. Yes, so Ajax, Gasman, and Bunnies into the pits. Bondimus, however, does continue. And so Bunnies on the mediums, he is the top medium runner at the moment, although I do wonder if he'll be taking those off. Aloe into the pits as well. So Aloe is going to be taking off the softs, while his Renault teammate, on the other hand, though, does continue in 2nd, under quite a bit of pressure from Scarface, though, and you can see the difference in wear. Scarface, very kind on his front tires, Matt wearing them out a little bit more comparatively. As Bunnies seemingly jumping Ajax and Gasman in the pits, so Ajax refueling significantly less than either his brother or Gasman. Gasman coming out behind Kaiser even. So Bunnies, a huge jump in the pit stops there. He has not changed his tires. He has not even come close to refueling to full. So the Mercedes has jumped up 2 positions with that pit stop. Let's take a look further down the grid. It's Punisher in 15th, Specmere 14th, as 2 of the top 3 are into the pits. That's Matt Psycho and Scarface into the pits. Bondimus as well. Jam, will he stay out? Jam, bit of a late call to come into the pits there for Jam, but he does come into the pits in the end. Rob on drums staying out, so the American doing something he often does, extending substantially on that first stint. Rob on drums, known in SNL for doing some pretty wacky strategies, but a very, very good strategist is the American, so we'll see how that pans out for him. Matt Psycho coming out in 3rd. Bunnies comes out ahead of Scarface, so Scarface behind Bunnies. Wow! Refueling has worked refueling less than the others has worked wonders for the Canadian, who will be in a net P3. What about Ragemus, though? Ragemus needs to come into the pits on this lap. His fuel absolutely cannot make it another lap. So here, on the end of lap 18, it is Ragemus Prime into the pits. The Mercedes driver pits from the lead. He's led the race since turn 1, since before turn 1 even. And he is finally into the pits. It will be Rob on drums presumably taking the lead. He does look like he might have been just enough fuel for another lap, but it's going to be a stretch. Let's take a look. What does the Red Bull driver do? He is staying out, so the Red Bull driver should take the lead here. So Rob on drums, across the line, a 14.1, and the lead of the race. So Rob on drums leads at Austria. And, wow, so the strategy is going to be very interesting from Rob on drums then. Oh, it's a big slide from Matt, but Matt is ahead of Ragemus. That is vital in this race, and look at the gap between the 2 of them. Wow, that is humongous. So Matt Psycho possibly doing similar to what Bunnies did and not refueling as much as the others around him, because Matt Psycho is a huge distance ahead of Ragemus Prime now. Wow! So Ragemus Prime losing the lead there, and the Mercedes driver out of the lead. He's actually only just ahead of his teammate, Bunnies. I wonder if Bunnies will be able to put any pressure on him. Surely not. Bunnies is on worn mediums compared to Ragemus Prime's fresh softs. So I would imagine Ragemus as I misspeak there. I would imagine Ragemus Prime will be safe from his teammate behind. The question then becomes, will Scarface be able to challenge Bunnies himself, and potentially even Ragemus, as Scarface's teammate, Raw on Drums, is into the pits finally. At the end of lap 19, he pits out of the lead, and we have our third race leader in 3 laps with that, as Matt Psycho takes the lead of the race. Ragemus Prime sits in second, Bunnies in third, Scarface currently in fourth. He is pushing to try and get ahead of Bunnies, I'm sure. Ajax a little ways back, then it's Gasman, Bondimus, Aloe, much closer to Bondimus than before, Jam, Slenderfella, Rob on Drums coming out of the pits, Specmere in 12th, 13th is Kaiser, 14th is Craig, and 15th is Punisher. So Matt Psycho running his way down towards the end of Sector 2, through Turn 6 now. Let's see how he flicks the car in. A little bit of hesitation from the looks of things. A 12.5 is the fastest lap of the race at the moment from Slenderfella. And, bad run through Turn 6 from Bunnies as Scarface hitting Bunnies there. Contact there as Scarface gets through into third. What has happened there? So that looked like contact, although I was a bit distracted by the times. I'd like to go back and see that again. Scarface, he's running behind Bunnies, runs onto the curb, and there's definitely some smoke there, so I think there might have been contact. Bunnies runs wide. Oh, there's a second dosage of contact there. And that is Scarface up into third. A little bit of contact there, though. But nonetheless, that is the Red Bull driver up into third through Turn 10, swooping around that right-hander. It's Ajax now chasing down his brother, Bunnies, for fourth. Gasman not far behind, though. Fifth is Bondimus. Oh, that was Aloe running quite wide there from the looks of things. Aloe, though, is now chasing down Bondimus. And I think Aloe, comparatively, Aloe has gained over a second on that last lap. So I think Aloe really pushing right now, trying to catch up to the Lotus. Aloe in 8th in the race, in 6th in the championship. Excuse me. I think he will be looking to get 7th away from Bondimus to keep up his fantastic run of results this season. Really, I think there has been a noticeable upturn in pace from Aloe. Bizarrely, I can actually, I think, pinpoint the race that started to happen, which was season 5, around 9 at Road Atlanta. Aloe, out of nowhere, got pole position on that day, drove a brilliant race, and has been very, very quick since then, especially when you compare him to his previous pace. Before that day, he had struggled a bit in Formula X up until that point, and since then he has been one of the top drivers. And I still sometimes think about that, and I just want to extend some praise to Aloe for his improvement over his time racing in SNL. He is really a top-notch driver at this point. So yeah, just props to Aloe for that, as he's now putting a lot of pressure on Bondimus. He's sitting behind that Lotus. Ooh, he's going to try and get the throttle down. Can he make the move in the slipstream? He's not using overtake. Bondimus is, and I'm noticing something, and if you've watched these streams before, you'll know there's something I do every single race, which is I explain the lights above the driver's head. So you'll notice that on Aloe's car, there is a green light above the driver's head, above the airbox. That shows us that he has 25% or more of his overtake remaining in this race. You can see in the bottom right corner the exact amount that he has left. He has about half of his overtake left. Comparatively, Bondimus Prime has a red light above his head. This means that he has 25% or less of his overtake left remaining in this race. So you can see that red light above his head, that signifies that. And you can see he's probably got about an eighth of it left at the moment. And I don't think there's anybody who's out of overtake. I'm just flipping through the grid quickly to double check that. There is not. But, as Aloe down the inside, apologies for looking away from that, we've got to go back and see that. Aloe down towards turn 1, how is he going to make this move? on Bondimus. He just swoops to the inside, later braking, throws it down at the apex, and wow, a nice move from Aloe. That is not the first good move we've seen today. He is on a roll, but here comes Bondimus. He has the slipstream, he has the run, and he's through into turn 3 as Aloe gains and then loses a position, and Jam now is going to be putting pressure on the Renault driver. Jam in 9th, currently he's running, he's going to go for the outside line. It's not going to pan out into turn 4, but Aloe right on the back of Bondimus, surely not down the inside of turn 6, surely not. Surely, yes, he says, as he goes down the inside, and now it's the inside for turn 7. Can he hold it? Bondimus on the outside almost holds it, but what a move for Aloe. Aloe is just not giving up with these moves, and the number 57 Lotus is Renault, is absolutely flying today. These are some spectacular moves from Aloe, as Jam now gets past Bondimus as well. I think Bondimus possibly making a mistake through 9 and 10, and Jam getting an opportunity on him. Jam running out of turn 1, gets the throttle down nicely. I think he'll be safe from Bondimus down towards turn 3. Slenderfella now coming up behind his teammate, and the two Lotuses will be doing battle soon if this keeps up. Looking towards the front, however, Matt Psycho leads with a humongous gap. He recently set the fastest lap of the race, a whopping 1:12.098. What a lap from the Renault driver, and he is only continuing at a 12.3 last lap, a 12.9 this lap, compared to Ragemus, who has done a 13.1, a 13.3, and a 13.6 the past 3 laps. This time a 12.9, so keeping pretty even with Matt on this occasion. A 12.9 on the most recent lap for Scarface as well. So he too is keeping up with the two in front, but there's still some large gaps there that need to be filled out if he is to get a better position. Bunnies, a 13.5, a 13.7, and a 13.8 where he's passed 3 lap times. So struggling a bit more than the drivers in front on those worn mediums. He is presumably going to switch on to his softs for the final stint of the race. He is racing a soft, medium, hard strategy today. Of course, no obligation to use all 3 tires, but a maximum of those 3 tires being used today, and presumably it's just one more pit stop with one more stint, which will be on the softs. It's Ajax, though, and Gasman putting the pressure on the front-running Canadian in this race. Through turns 9 and 10, Ragemus flying along, and Scarface as well. Bunnies does not come into the pits, but looking at his fuel and his tires, I would imagine it won't be too long until he's in. What lap time is it this time? A 14.3 compared to a 13.6 for his brother. These two will be doing battle very, very soon, I would imagine. But a bit of a snap for Ajax out of turn 1. Gasman now, we're going to ride on board with him for just a minute. Why don't you listen into the engine as he tries to catch up to the 2 Canadians in front. So the Ferrari right behind the Tyrrell, that's a big mistake for Ajax there through both 9 and 10, lifting off. Wow, Gasman having to take evasive action, but good to lift off from Ajax there. There's a yellow flag up ahead. It's Scarface. Scarface is around at turn 1. The man running in third is not going to be running in third much longer. What has happened here? So he's using lots of curve there. He gets a snap of oversteer through one. He hits the wall, a bit of front-end damage, and that is the Americans' race. Not over, of course, but significantly detrimental. So, losing 3 positions there to Ajax, Gasman, and Bunnies. And that is big for the championship as well, because of course the standings currently, as it stands, Scarface on 61 points, only 6 points ahead of Bunnies and Gasman. Bunnies and Gasman both gaining a position there, both overtaking their championship rivals. So Scarface, that is huge for the Red Bull driver. He will not be pleased with that. The number 31 is going to be pushing on now to see how he does, or how he can do compared to the 3 in front. He's going to want to regain that 3rd position. A podium would be a very nice result here. And if you think back to Season 5, though, we now have our Season 5 winner here on the podium. Bunnies was the winner last time Formula X raced here. He's into the pits now from 3rd position. So it's going to be a long last stint, presumably on the softs, but he does not have the fuel to go for another lap. So we'll see how that goes for the Mercedes driver. It is Matt Psycho in first, coming up behind lapped traffic. I believe that is Craig. It is indeed. So Matt in first, Rageness running in second. Still running a very, very solid race here is the Mercedes driver. Gasman up to 3rd with the spin from Scarface and the pit stop from Bunnies. Ajax in 4th. Then it's Scarface. Jam runs in 6th, nose to tail almost with a Lowy. It's right on board with the Lowy. Can he make a move on the Williams? 2 Brits do battle for 6th. Ooh, wow! That was a huge, huge dive from Lowy. And knowing that he's hit Jam off the track, letting him stay in front, just looking back quickly there myself to see how close Rob on Drums was. No threat of being overtaken after that mistake, but great great sportsmanship as usual in SNL, as Lowy, knowing he caused that incident, waits for Jam to get through the corner without overtaking him. But now it's going to be down the inside of turn 9 again. What a move from Lowy! Wow! He just keeps doing it. Whenever you don't expect it, that's when Lowy makes the move. This is just incredible from Lowy. The Renault driver does not care. He just makes moves wherever. That was really impressive. Ooh, a big snap of oversteer for Bonimus Prime there, coming out of turn 1. Spectre is 10th, and 11th is Bunny, so just finishing up his outlap. And I was correct, he has put on a compound of the soft tires, so surely this will be his final stint this race. Pushing on out of turn 1, he is going to be looking to make use of the undercut. The people he will be worried about in this will presumably, as he goes purple through Sector 1, will presumably be Scarface, Ajax, Gasman, and maybe Ragemus, but I think Ragemus was too far ahead to be really thinking about an undercut on him. Gasman not far behind, Ajax not far behind, and Scarface not far behind, though. We'll see, is it the undercut or is it the overcut that works better? Through turn 1, the Ferrari driver keeping it nice and smooth, as does the Tyrrell. Scarface running a little bit wide, but managing the corner nicely nonetheless. Red Bull is going to be chasing after the 2 in front of him. Gasman on softs, but Ajax and Scarface on mediums. So in terms of the undercut that Bunnies will be trying to pull off on these 3, Bunnies is now, of course, on the softs as well. It's a personal best lap last lap, a 12.6 for Bunnies, as through turn 1 makes it through quite smoothly, and I wonder if he'll be pushing for fastest lap. Bunny's a driver with quite a few fastest laps throughout his time in SNL, or in Formula X, I should say. He does tend to push for them when he can, I think. So, the 9th place driver, currently in a net P3 or P4, I think, is going to be pushing on. Jam, oh, that is a 3-way battle here, 2-way battle, I should say. Kaiser a lap down from the looks of things. It is Jam and Punisher. Will they be coming together, or not coming together, will Punisher be getting ahead? It looks like Jam maybe got past him immediately after pitting. I'm not sure. It does seem like Punisher will be needing to pit any time now, though. So let's take a look at the top couple of guys. Are any of them coming up to the pits? No, they're all well past the pits now. So Bunnies, let's see, just as he rounds out this lap, he'll be pushing. I want to compare his lap time to the guys in front. A 12.3 is a good lap time. Scarface a 13.6, Ajax a 13.9, and Gasman a 13.8. So Bunny's gaining about a second and a half on that lap compared to the 3 that he was quite close to at 13.1 for Ragemus. So Ragemus still with some pretty good pace at the moment. Matt Psycho's into the pits. What about Ragemus? No, Ragemus stays out. That is somebody else into the pits. I think that might have been Craig? Yes, that's Craig into the pits. So, Gasman, does he go into the pits? He does. The Ferrari driver comes into the pits. The Tyrrell driver, Ajax, also doing the same. So the Brit and the Canadian into the pits, but it is Scarface staying out on those mediums. And now we will get to judge, is it the undercut or the overcut that works better? Lowy in 6th into the pits. Rob on drums stays out. Bondimus will stay out. Bunnies is coming through turn 8 now. He's going to be through 9 and 10 in just a moment. Pushing quite hard. You can see he's using up all the herb there. Through turn 10. Looking like a good lap here. Ooh, just missing out on his own personal best by about half a tenth of a second. So, where are Ajax? Ajax is right behind Bunnies, so it's hard to say if the undercut or the overcut was more effective there. But Ajax and Gasman not far behind Bunnies. Bunnies slightly purple on this lap. Ajax on the mediums. Gasman on the soft, so it will be an advantage Gasman in this final stint of the race. There is not long left to go in this race, and I, for one, am extremely excited to see how it will go. We've got a Mercedes, Tyrrell, and Ferrari quite close together. We've got a Lotus and a lapped car quite close together, but we have a Red Bull coming into the pits on the mediums. Presumably, I think Scarface will stay on the mediums on this occasion. But we'll have to wait and see. Rob on drums into the pits off of the soft tires. So Rob on drums, both of the Red Bulls into the pits. Luckily for them, though, this game does not have double stacking. So those two safe from that. Scarface coming out of the pits now. Where's he going to be in relation to Bunnies? Bunnies is just coming around turn 1 now. Scarface is as well. They're going to be side by side out of the pits. Side by side down towards turn 2 and 3. Who's it going to be who comes out on top? Bunnies will have the warmer tires, but Scarface will have the inside line. On the inside, Scarface, knocking Bunnies out wide, but Bunnies takes the position anyways. Little bit of contact there between the two North Americans, but Bunnies takes the position, and with it, a net P3. So Scarface is now behind Bunnies. I believe he was already, but what's really interesting is that the overcut has worked a treat for Scarface because it has put him ahead of Ajax and ahead of Gasman. So, Scarface really making that work there. He's on worn mediums. He seems to be doing the same strategy as Ajax is Scarface. Bunnies, though, pulling away already from the looks of things on those soft compound tires. And Bondimus in 3rd. Will he be into the pits? Surely at the end of this lap, but he's just starting now. So at the end of lap 34, I would expect Bondimus Prime to go into the pits, and for the top 8 drivers or so at least, I'd say we'll get our more realistic depiction of what the grid or what the order will look like as strategies start to blend together. Rob on drums defends to the inside from Jam. Moves back to the outside. That's totally legal. He isn't moving too many times. He moves once to try and break the slipstream, and then back out to the outside line to get the optimal racing line for turn 1. It's going to be Jam in the slipstream of Rob, though. Surely no moves here for the Williams driver. No, he doesn't really even think about it from the looks of things. Oh, but on traction though, actually, Jam has some immense traction on Rob on drums. Can he outbrake him into turn 4? A little bit of contact there, I think. Both of these drivers on fresh, soft compound tires. We'll have to see how this goes. But Jam certainly piling the pressure onto Rob, as it's a pit stop now for Bondimus Prime, who pits out of P3. Bunny's taking the podium, the final podium position now. You can see all those colors on his helmet, the 2 stars just coming into view for a split second there when he breaks, those representing his 2 SNL championships. Ragemus is in first. Ragemus needs to pit again though. Ragemus may be on this lap, maybe on the next, it's hard to say. It'll be on the next lap then, I think, for Ragemus to pit. Matt Psycho runs in second. Ragemus in first. Third is Bunnies. Fourth is Scarface. Fifth, Gavin. Sixth is Ajax. Seventh is Aloe with a personal best lap of the race at last little time out. Rob on drums is 8th. 9th is Jam. 10th is Feknir. Purple in Sector 1. He is side by side with Bondimus. They must have come out of the pits side by side. Bondimus tries to get the switch back, but he doesn't have the traction. He's going to have to slot into the slipstream of Feknir. Can he make the move down to turn 4? I think he's too far back on this occasion. He is indeed, although he does look to the inside. Oh, but he just runs a little bit wide on exit, and Feknir, with the better traction, pulls away there. Slunderfella is in 12th. 13th is Punisher. 14th is Craig. He has blue flags behind. Who is that for? That is for one of the Mercedes. Kaiser in 15th, and that would be for Bunnies, the blue flags then. Bunny's coming up behind Craig. Surely, hopefully, Craig will be getting out of the way into this corner. Not quite, and it looks like Bunny's... Oh, a bit of contact there between Bunny's and the back marker, actually. So that's not great, but surely into turn 4, I think we'll see the move as Ragemus Prime into the pits, and Craig turns in on Bunny's. So, there's more contact for the 2 of them, and Craig running out a little bit wide, but that is Ragemus into the pits, and Matt is going to retake the lead, surely, here. He does indeed a 112.3 last lap on that lap for Matt. Ragemus into the pits. Bunnies has Scarface not too far behind him. Let's take a look and see. Bunnies through turn 10, he seems to be on a good lap, I think. It's a 12.7 as Scarface 4th. 5th is Gasman. Gasman is ahead of Ajax. I'm not sure exactly when that happened. Probably on lap 35, given the 116.6 on that lap for Ajax. And you'll notice now, I mentioned earlier the overtake. You'll also notice now, above Aloe's head, there is no longer a light. There is nothing on the airbox there in terms of lights anymore. That just means that he is out of overtake. So Aloe has used it all up. Looking up the grid, let's see what other people are doing in terms of overtake. Matt still has a little bit of overtake left, but not very much. It's a little bit more for Ragemus. Bunnies has nearly half, but he's using it on this lap, and he's a little bit purple at the end of Sector 2. Can he maintain that purple? Let's watch him through turns 9 and 10. Can he keep it in the track limits, and can he take fastest lap? Wow, very, very aggressive in turn 9. But keeping it on the track through turn 10, is it going to be the fastest lap of the race? No, it's not, actually. So despite that purple in Sector 2, it is a 12.183, less than a tenth off of Matt's fastest lap, but Matt seems very, very strong here with that fastest lap. Scarface through turn 1, you can see that is Bunny's up in the distance there, not the car right in front of him, but you can see him just for a moment going through turn 3, and Gasman, though, is much closer to the back of Scarface. Apologies, I forgot his name for a split second. Ajax running in 6th. It's another solid race for the Canadian. 7th is Aloe. 8th is Rob. He's next to Jam on the track. Rob and Jam side by side. Jam on the inside, Rob on the outside. Rob a little bit out wide there, but maintains the position and some very impressive traction out of that corner as well. So that is very impressive from Rob, holding that position, I believe. Possibly an overtake, but I think just holding it. Speckmere in 10th, Bondimus is 11th, 12th goes to Slenderfella as it stands, 13th is Punisher, 14th is Craig, running a bit wide at 9, and again at 10, and Kaiser in 15th. Matt Psycho running in 1st, then it's Rage Mist, and Bunnies with the new fastest lap of the race, a 1:11.8, the first driver out of the 112s. That is an impressive lap, and I think that the others will be hard-pressed to beat that, given I already thought Matt's lap was very impressive and probably very difficult to beat. So, Scarface now running through turn 3. You can see Craig up ahead of him, Gasman right behind him, Ferrari and Red Bull. Where have I seen this one before? And let's just take a look and see what the Ferrari can do. And we're just going to listen to these engines for just a minute now as they navigate the second sector of this track. Gasman saying in the chat, Aloe on fire, and I am inclined to agree. Aloe is driving an exceptional race today. Truly a fantastic drive from the Renault driver. I'd actually argue in terms of the overtakes he's made, he's my driver of the day. But I'd be hard-pressed to actually put down a driver of the day because Matt has driven a very good race, as has Rage Mist, as has Aloe, as have many of the top few drivers, actually, I'd say. And of course, Jam battling COVID, sitting in 9th, battling with Rob and Speckmere right behind him. Jam also doing a very good job, all things considered. I think just a lot of really strong drives this race, and I think that really goes to show something about SNL, which is just the sheer skill of this grid. That, you know, you can show up with COVID, and yes, it drops you down a bit, and maybe compared to how you usually do, but Jam's still managing in 9th and able to battle. Like, that's, you know, a testament to his skill. You've got Matt dominating, but the two Mercedes running fantastic races as well. Scarface has had some incidents and still had the pace to regain some of those positions, while Gasman and Ajax have both been performing very well. Aloe has been putting on some amazing overtakes. I mean, really, this grid is really among the most skilled that we've had in Formula X. It's a really strong grid, it has to be said. So Aloe sitting on the back of that Tyrrell, though. The Renault will be looking for any opportunity he can on the Canadian up ahead. You can see the sponsorship on the rear wing of the Tyrrell. You can see it on the side of the Tyrrell now, and if you look back for a moment there, you can see it on the front. But Aloe out a little bit wide, possibly a little bit of contact there, but Aloe makes up the position. Ajax is going to use the overtake. He's going to use the grass even. He's going to line himself up for the outside of turn 4. Careful. We've seen people come together here in real life. Albon and Hamilton in Formula 1 in 2020, for example. On the other hand, Ajax and Aloe make it through cleanly. Oh, but Ajax is on the outside and Aloe on the inside. Aloe is back through on the inside. What a move! Aloe once again using an unconventional overtaking corner to get through on his rival, and Aloe through on Ajax this time on the inside of turn 6. What a move! Drop on drums in 8th, 9th is Jam, 10th is Speckmere. This trio of cars relatively close together themselves. Bondimus driving well in 11th, 12th is Slenderfella, 13th Punisher, Craig in 14th, and Kaiser in 15th. Matt Psycho, what a hell of a race from the Renault driver. He's still got over a lap to go, though. I'm not going to commentator's curse him, but he is driving a very good race so far, and he is looking very dominant so far today. He's going to start his final lap now. As they would say in NASCAR, the white flag is waving, and a 1:12.6 on his second last lap for Matt. Matt is surely looking safe to come home with the win. He is through turn 1. He is halfway along the straight almost, as Ragemus only now crossing the line to start his final lap. Bunnies as well. Bunnies on some very, very worn softs, though. Still pushing on. And, Gasman right on the back of Scarface. And Gasman might just have an opportunity here on the final lap. This is something that is worth watching. If you have stepped away from your TV, laptop, phone, or wherever you are watching this, I recommend stepping back to it, because as Scarface runs a little bit wide, Gasman keeping it right behind him, using up the last of his overtake, and unfortunately for him, not quite getting the same traction as Scarface. But there's Kaiser. Oh, Gasman's around. The final lap of the race, he's made a mistake. Gasman is around at turn 3. Will that give Ajax the position? No, not yet, but Ajax will be there. Let's make it sure. Matt is about to cross the line. He is. It is victory and dominance for Matt Psycho at the Red Bull Ring. He wins in Austria. It's going to be a maiden podium in SNL for Ragemus Prime. He's the second Mercedes to step up onto the podium this season, and he's going to do it ahead of his teammate this time. Ragemus Prime takes second. Bunnies is going to take third. That's your podium. Scarface, suddenly safe in fourth, is looking good. It's going to be the American coming home in fourth as he runs wide at turn 10 for the final time. There, through goes Scarface for the final time through turn 10. Oh, is Ajax and Gasman both pushing very hard there, especially Ajax, but Gasman takes 5th, 6th for Ajax, and Aloe's off in 7th, but he makes it across the line in 7th despite that little off there onto the grass. Rob on drums takes 8th. It's going to be Jam and Speckmere nose to tail for 9th and 10th. Bondimus is going to come home in 11th, then it's going to be Slenderfella. We wait on the 2 Lotuses in flying formation. It's going to be Bondimus immediately followed by Slenderfella. And that, my friends, is the race completed. And what a race that was. It is Matt Psycho who dominates that race to take victory. Once again, that is his second victory in a row. That is Matt pushing himself up really into championship contention now. Ragemus Prime, meanwhile, taking his first podium of the season, his first podium of SNL. What a drive for Ragemus. A round of applause for him. That was really exceptional from him. Bunnies, the reigning champion, taking third with fastest lap. He'll presumably be pleased with that himself. It's Scarface in 4th. 5th goes to Gasman after a mistake on the final lap. Ajax right behind him in 6th. 7th will go to Aloe, the Renault driver. Let's get a better view of him there. Aloe taking 7th, continuing his strong run of form. 8th, a season best result for Rob on drums. 9th goes to Jam, and really just a congratulations to him for fighting through the COVID for that. That must have been a hard race for the Williams driver. Props to him for making it through. 10th is Speckmere, just barely fended off by the Williams. The McLaren driver has to settle for 10th. It's 11th for Bondimus and 12th for Slenderfella. 13th is the Punisher. 14th is Craig. And 15th, last but not least, is Kaiser Grimm. So that is your finishing positions, and I will also read out to you and I want to make this clear, provisional standings. I discovered earlier while trying to calculate this that I really do suck when it comes to my math skills, but I do have provisional standings for you nonetheless. So, first, in first would be Scarface on 79 points, the American maintaining the championship lead, whilst Bunnies would be on 77 points, only 2 points off of the championship lead. Bunnies going for a third championship in a row, very close to the championship lead, and for the third season in a row, it'll be Matt as one of his championship contenders, Matt on 76 points in third. Followed by Gasman on 71, so the top 4 separated by only 8 points, provisionally. So, Then it is Specmere on 54, Aloe on 53. Those two, as I've said multiple times, seemingly completely inseparable. Ragemus on 51, Ajax 48, Jam 46, Slenderfella 41, Bondimus 29, Rob 21, Punisher 18, Kaiser 10, TD Motors 10, Yokass 8, Craig OB 5, and Easy Saint 2. And I've named some people who are no longer racing this season, which has also then made me realize there's one person I forgot to name in that if I'm naming people who aren't actively racing anymore. I forgot to mention that Adka is in there on 32 points, ahead of Bondimus, behind Slenderfella. So, and I can also actually read off the constructors' the provisional constructor standings as well. No change in order for anyone, as Renault leads on 131, Mercedes on 129, Red Bull on 100, Williams on 83, Ferrari on 79, McLaren on 72, Lotus on 70, and Tyrrell on 68. So, with that, I will end out the stream. Thank you to everybody who watched. Some good viewership today. And not next week, but next race, 2 weeks from now, will be Spa. Last time we raced there in Formula X was Season 5. Similar to Austria in Season 5, Bunnies was the winner. So he will go in there as the most recent winner at that circuit. And for the second week running, Matt Psycho will go in as the reigning winner. With that, I say thank you to everybody who watched, and I will catch you all next time. Goodbye.